Secrets advanced players don't want you to know. This #1 secret strategy can make anyone a pro in pickleball. Have you ever overheard your partner or opponent say, "The score must be even because you were over there before and now you're over here"? We're not the only one who has heard someone declare something like that and simply followed their lead by moving in the direction they were pointing while pondering, which number is even? What even does that mean? And what the hell does that even tell you anyway? If you found yourself in that confusing situation, then this video is for you. This video is not about the basic rules of pickleball scoring. Instead, it will explain the logic and patterns that result from the fundamental pickleball rules so that you can use them to calculate the score in those inevitable situations which seem to be specific to pickleball when nobody on the court can remember, well, what it is. Don't be confused. We'll explain these things in detail. Hello and welcome to Pro Pickleball Media, your #1 spot for all pickleball content. Our channel is dedicated to the fastest growing sport in the US, and we cover all fun and exciting things related to pickleball. So if you love pickleball and want to learn more about it, just take a second to subscribe and press the bell icon so you don't miss any of our recent videos. Today's video, we're going to talk about some of the best kept secrets that advanced players don't want you to know. Make sure to stick around to the end of this video if you want to become a pro in pickleball. Now let's get right into the video. In this video, you'll learn the one thing that should be checked at the start of every game to make it much easier to know where you should be on the court and even who should be serving. How to determine based on the score which side of the court you should be on, and how to determine based on your position whether it's your team's first or second serve. Secret #1, know your starting positions. Knowing which side of the court you and your partner each started the game on makes it much easier to know the score, or rather figure out the score. When I refer to side of the court, I mean the side of the court you are on when you are facing the net, whether you're on the right side of the court or on the left side of the court. So here's the trick. Pay attention to which player on each team is starting on the right side of the court at the start of your game. Simple enough? Great. For this reason, we began out simple. Keep reading for the more sophisticated advice, even if you've already practiced that. However, before we discuss secrets 2 and 3, allow me to review 2 pickleball regulations that are extremely important for determining the score and who is serving at the moment. The relevant rules. Relevant rule 1. The pickleball regulation is that the player who is on the right side of the court serves first at the start of the game, as you hopefully are aware. Because you will be serving your team's first serve in the match, we will frequently refer to you as serving first. But rule number 2, which is listed below, prevents us from assuming that you will always be the first server whenever your team receives the ball back. Relevant rule number 2. Each time a team scores a point, the players switch sides of the court, i.e. the players on the left move to the right side of the court and the players on the right move to the left. Now before we move ahead to talk about more game-changing pickleball tips, please take a second to like this video, subscribe to our channel so that we can keep bringing more informative pickleball content to you. Your little contribution means a lot to us. Secret number 2. If you start out serving, the score will always be even when you are on the right side of the court. Combining the 2 rules above, it's clear that if you begin serving on the right, you will always remain on the right side of the court whenever your team scores an equal number of points. In reality, we occasionally say you're the even server. Also, FYI, this is one of the rare times when it's appropriate to refer to your spouse as odd in public. Basically, you can tell if a team score is odd or even by looking at who is on the right side of the court, if you know who started the game. No matter who's serving or how well the opposing team is doing, this is true. Because of this, keeping track of who serves first at the start of the game is quite helpful. You should also keep track of who of your competitors is serving first while you're doing that. In order to remember whose players are in those starting positions, you might even draw a diagonal line between the first server in your team and the first server on your opponent's team before the start of each game. Or create a habit to eliminate your need for memory. Teams will frequently have the women serve first in mixed double matches solely to make it simpler to remember. Some players prefer to always serve first or to always have their partner serve first when playing for fun. If you have a practice of never serving first, you can imagine how much simpler it is to realize that the score is unusual when you're on the right side of the court. Going from there, now using all that information, you may calculate your positioning-based score. However, determining your positioning based on the score might also be useful. A seemingly lengthy rally in which you or your opponents are frantically returning impossible shots and keeping the ball in play is one of the highlights of a pickleball match. It can be difficult to determine for sure which side of the court you are supposed to be on if you and your partner have shifted positions during the point. In this situation, it's simple to tell what position you should be in as long as at least one person on the court can remember the score and you know who was your team's first server. The first server then moves back to the right side of the court if that team's final score is even. The first server goes to the left side of the court if the score is odd. Secret number 3, how to know if it's the first serve or the second serve based on your position. Although the majority of this video has so far concentrated on your team score, positioning can also help you determine whether the third number in the score is a 1 or a 2. Now, this might seem a little more challenging than it did earlier, but bear with me. When you or your opponent have served multiple points in a row and you can't remember whether you were on the first serve, in which case your team still has one more chance to serve, or if you were the second server. If you're unfamiliar with this term, it refers to a situation in which one team loses the right to serve and the other team now has the opportunity to do so. Consider that you're still sporting the red because you were the game's original server. You will still be the first server for the subsequent round of serving if your score is even, when your team receives the ball following a side out. And when you're serving, the final number of the score will be a 1. You will be the second server for the subsequent round of serving if your team receives the ball with an odd score. When you serve, the final number of the score will be a 2. Let's put this into action now for a moment. Imagine you've just completed a fantastic round. No one can recall whether you were a 1 or a 2, despite the fact that you've been serving for the same time. You can determine whether you are a 1 or 2 if any of you can remember the score at side out when your team got the ball. You were the second server, for instance, if the score was 3-6-1 when you received the ball. This reasoning goes as follows. Since the score was odd when your team received the ball and your partner was on the right side of the court, you were the second server. The final number of the score must be a 2, even if you have won several points in a row. You must have stuck with me all the way to the end if you're still watching this, so well done. I can't promise that watching this video will prevent you from ever misplaying the score again. I mean, we wish. But I'm hoping that it will assist you the next time you're on the court and all 4 players have a moment of confusion so that you can determine the score of who belongs where. So what's your secret strategy in pickleball that you'd love to share with everyone? Tell us in the comments. Also, don't forget to like this video, share it with your fellow picklers. Also, if you love pickleball, then make sure to watch this next video on our channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.